What if God tried to talk to you, but you weren't really listening to him? He doesn't shout, he whispers. Not in your ears, but in your heart. You sometimes feel a strange, gentle, peaceful presence. A name keeps popping up in your mind, a feeling of lack, when nothing is really missing. You look around you, but what you are looking for cannot be seen with your eyes. Because a soulmate is not a romantic concept. It is an encounter written in the invisible, a recognition that goes beyond words, a mirror that God holds up to you so that you can see yourself through someone else. And sometimes he gives you signs, lots of signs, but you doubt, you rationalize, you run away. So listen carefully. If you feel that in your heart, it's not a coincidence. Perhaps it is he who guides you. The silent language of God. God does not speak like men. He doesn't shout. He doesn't force it. He blows. It passes through your heart like a light breeze, and only those who are truly silent can hear. He does not send written letters, nor messages as clear as day. But he deposits intuitions, feelings, silences full of meaning. He guides you with inexplicable emotions, presentiments that you cannot justify with your reason, but which your soul instinctively recognizes. It is not in noise that God expresses himself, but in the beating of your heart when everything else becomes blurry, because your heart is your compass. And if you have purified it, it is capable of recognizing what your mind does not yet understand. This is what we call the nature, this original, pure nature, the one that God implanted in you long before the world distorted you. This inner light that allows you to feel what is true even when you have no external proof. So when your heart calms down in the presence of a person, when you no longer need to force yourself or play a role, when you feel that you are fully you, this is not a simple coincidence. The true soulmate doesn't make noise. It doesn't disrupt your world. It realigns it. It does not fill a void. It echoes a completeness already present in you. And this is the most powerful sign. When a relationship brings you closer to God, when it does not awaken your wounds, but calms them, so know that this may not be a simple encounter. Maybe it's a divine message wrapped in a face. But you still have to listen, not with your ears, but with this sacred part in you, which we call the heart, a strange peace in the heart. Do you know this feeling? This deep calm, almost unreal, as if suddenly the tumult of the world was silent, as if your soul had just found a place it had always known. It's not excitement. This is not a passing fire. It's a peace, a strange peace, silent, but powerful. When God brings you to the right person, it's not chaos that invades you. It's clarity. You don't feel the need to run, flee, or be suspicious. You don't feel this inner tension, this duality that divides. On the contrary, something is aligning. You no longer need to force things, no need to understand everything anymore. You know, deep down, that you are where you need to be. And this peace is not trivial. It's a message. Peace is a divine sign that you are on the right path. It is God who whispers to you, "Go on, I'm here." But be careful. The ego hates this peace. He prefers doubt, toxic attachment, obsession. He wants evidence, drama, emotional intensity. The ego confuses love and dependence. He seeks adrenaline, not guidance. But your heart knows. He does not seek to possess. He recognizes. He doesn't hold on out of fear. He opens with confidence. And sometimes this peace is so sweet that it scares you, because you're not used to it. But that is precisely the sign. When you're in front of the right person, there is no urgency, no confusion, no inner battle. There is just an obvious fact. And this evidence does not come from you. It comes from higher up, from the one who unites hearts at the right time, for the right reasons. So when you feel this strange peace, don't reject it. Listen to her. It is perhaps the silent answer to an ancient prayer, or to a forgotten heavenly promise. The echo of synchronicities. What if these weren't coincidences? You hear his name somewhere for no reason. You come across a song that speaks to you about her. You open a book, and one sentence seems to describe exactly how you feel. You dream of her without even thinking about it. You feel his presence, even in his absence. And it comes back, again and again, like an echo, like a hidden code that only your soul can understand. These are not mere coincidences. These are synchronicities. And in God's language, synchronicities are heavenly whispers, gentle but powerful reminders that something, somewhere, is coming into alignment. Do you think you're thinking about this person? But maybe she's the one thinking about you.
Or maybe it's God thinking of you together. When the universe conspires to place the same sign before your eyes repeatedly, this is not a joke of fate. This is a divine signal. You say to yourself, "It's crazy, I see it everywhere." But it's not madness. It is the manifestation of an invisible reality that tries to break through into the visible. Sometimes you feel a déjà vu, a suspended moment where time stops. Your heart recognizes what your mind is trying to explain. And even if you can't prove it, you know it. Something bigger is at work. These kinds of signs don't happen to everyone. They appear when two paths are called to cross for a spiritual reason, when two souls vibrate at a frequency beyond the explainable. So instead of ignoring these signs, observe them, welcome them. They are not here to trouble you. They are there to wake you up. Maybe God is sending you a series of messages because your soulmate is closer than you imagine, and that your heart has already begun to recognize it in the sacred silence of synchronicities. The feeling of recognition. There are encounters that are unlike any other, not because they are loud, but because they are silently familiar, like you're finding something you never really lost. You look at this person, and you don't need to explain. You feel a strange warmth, a deep peace, and this feeling difficult to describe. I know you. But from where? How? Why so hard, so fast, so intensely, when you have only just met her? This is because some souls recognize each other even before the spirits become tamed. It's a connection that goes beyond the physical, which has nothing to do with appearance, nor words, nor time. It is a silent language that the pure in heart know how to speak. You don't need to force or convince. There are silences that say everything, looks that last a little too long, but which do not interfere. On the contrary, they soothe. When you are with this person, you feel understood without having spoken, accepted without having proven, loved without asking. And this is not a romantic illusion. It is a spiritual memory, a soul resonance, as if you had already met somewhere else, in another life, or in a place between worlds where souls bide their time. Your soul recognizes what your eyes barely discover. And in this recognition, there is something sacred, something gentle but powerful, fragile but immutable. It's not the beating of the heart that alerts you. It's the calm that it brings you. This feeling that you can put down your armor, that you no longer need to play a role. It is not a fire that consumes. It is a light that shines gently. And sometimes this feeling is so deep that it makes you doubt, because it's unlike anything you know. But that is precisely why it is true. Soulmates don't meet. They meet again. The divinely coordinated trials. Why does what seems so pure, so obvious, go through so many obstacles? Why do two souls who recognize each other sometimes have to move away, just when they are starting to get closer? Because God tests what is precious. He does not give light without testing those who will bear it. And He does not allow two souls to unite without first purifying them. Sometimes separation is not a rejection. It's a preparation, a sacred detour to return truer, deeper, more ready. You think everything is falling apart, when in reality, everything is aligning. But not according to your schedule. According to Him who knows hearts better than you. The trials are not there to destroy the bond. They are there to raise Him, so that it is not a relationship based on need or lack, but on completeness, faith, consciousness. This sudden silence,
this distance that hurts, these painful misunderstandings, this may not be the end, but a divine step, because God knows when two hearts are ready to love each other, not with passion, but with wisdom, not with attachment, but with light. The truth is, this sacred connection isn't supposed to be easy. It is meant to be transformative. And all transformation takes place through fire. This fire is the test. This fire is waiting. This fire is the humility of accepting what you do not yet understand. But if you hold on, if your heart remains aligned, if your prayer does not weaken, then what God has written for you will come back to you, purified, reinforced, blessed. It is not the test that destroys sincere love. It is the test that reveals it. So don't cry too long over what seems lost. Maybe it's just being prepared to come back better than ever. Remember, what comes from God always comes back. The call to sacred patience. You wonder why it's taking so long. Why do you feel so strongly, but nothing comes to fruition? Why your heart beats in unison with a soul you can't yet touch. But the truth is, God doesn't make you wait. He prepares you.
It shapes your interior to accommodate what your soul demands. He polishes the angles of your character, calms the storms of your past, and teaches you to love differently. Not with the ego, but with the soul. Patience is not the absence of desire. This is the proof of faith. Faith that what is meant for you will never pass you by. Every day of waiting is a day of refinement. Every silence is a hidden prayer. Every delay is a mercy in disguise. Because God doesn't just want to unite you with someone, He wants to unite you in the best possible way, at the perfect time, in perfect condition. You think you're waiting for someone, but in reality, you're waiting for a version of yourself ready to love healthily. So don't rush what the sky is still writing. Don't force a door that God keeps closed to protect you. Don't doubt your feelings just because the timing isn't right for you. What God writes, He protects him. What God delays, He sublimates it. And sometimes, the most beautiful love is not the one that comes quickly, but the one that happens when your heart is able to honor it. What is written for you will come when your heart is ready to love it for the right reasons. So breathe, refocus. Remember that waiting is not emptiness. It is fertile ground where God plants the seeds of your transformation. When the time is right, you will understand why it didn't work before. And that day, you will thank God for every second of waiting. Conclusion and invocation finale. When God wants to awaken you to a truth, He doesn't hit hard. He repeats softly. A strange peace in the heart. Repeated signs, synchronicities, a feeling of inexplicable recognition, sacred trials, and a patience that becomes prayer. All of this is not illusions. These are answers, reminders, signs. What God unites, no storm can separate. So don't doubt what your heart feels. When this feeling elevates you, purifies you, brings you closer to Him. And now, let's close our eyes and whisper together, O Allah, guide our hearts to those who will elevate us spiritually and keep us away from that which diverts our light. Grant us a soulmate who puts you at the center, who pushes us to become better, and who walks with us towards you. Ya Allah, unite hearts by your love, not by illusion. Ameen.